The room fell silent as the massive screen displayed the approaching spacecraft. It wasn't human-made. The vessel's smooth oval shape and pulsing blue lights confirmed what everyone already suspected. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity was no longer alone. Captain Lisa Wells stood at the command center of the ESS Pathfinder, Earth's first true interstellar vessel. Even with its groundbreaking ion engines, the Pathfinder could barely reach Mars in 2 weeks. The alien ship had traveled from beyond Pluto to Earth orbit in less than a day. "Status report," Lisa said, her voice steadier than she felt. "They're holding position at 50,000 kilometers," replied her navigation officer. "No weapons detected, but their energy readings are off the charts." Lisa nodded. "Open the channel again." The screen flickered, revealing a humanoid figure, with pale blue skin, large eyes, and no visible hair. The alien wore what appeared to be a formal uniform with symbols that shifted and changed. "I am Ambassador Zorthal of the Galactic Empire," the alien said in perfect English. "We come in peace and friendship to welcome Earth to the galactic community." 3 days later, the world's leaders gathered in New York. The United Nations. Assembly Hall was packed as Ambassador Zorthal addressed Earth's representatives. Lisa sat in the front row next to Dr. Alan Murphy, NASA's lead xenobiologist. The Galactic Empire spans 217 sentient species across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, Zorthal explained. "We have existed for 12,000 of your years, bringing peace and advancement to all worlds who join us." Dr. Murphy leaned toward Lisa. "Notice how he keeps saying join us instead of ally with us or partner with us?" Lisa nodded slightly. Something felt off about this whole situation, despite the amazing technology the Empire promised to share. Earth is what we classify as a developing world, but one with great potential, Zorthal continued. "We offer knowledge exchange, medical advancements, and clean energy solutions." The audience applauded, but Sam Daniels watched with narrowed eyes from the back of the room. As head of Earth's United Defense Council, he'd spent his career preparing for threats to humanity. This felt like one, despite the friendly words. Later that evening, Sam met with Lisa and Alan in a secure room beneath the UN building. "What's your assessment, Doctor?" Sam asked. Alan spread photographs across the table. "These show Imperial ships scanning our solar system. They're particularly interested in Jupiter's moons and the asteroid belt. Their scans are far more detailed than needed for scientific study." "Resource survey," Lisa said simply. "Exactly." Sam pulled out his secure tablet. "And there's more. We intercepted communications between their ships. Our AI took 3 days to crack their encryption." The translated message appeared on screen. "World assessment, Earth. Classification, resource-rich, minimal defense capability. Recommended action, Stage 2, integration with resource. Extraction priority." Lisa felt cold. "They're not here to welcome us. They're here to take what they want." "Classic colonization strategy," Sam said. "They've done this before to other worlds. Show up with gifts and promises, establish a presence, then slowly take control." "What can we do?" Alan asked. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours." Sam's face hardened. "Maybe not as much as they think." He pulled out a small metal box with a fingerprint scanner. When he pressed his thumb to it, the box opened, revealing a single key card. "Protocol Omega," he said, quietly. "A classified defense project that's been in development since we found something unusual in the 1960s. "Found what?" Lisa asked. "Evidence that humans aren't the first advanced civilization to call Earth home." Sam inserted the key card into his tablet. "And evidence that someone left us a defense system." The tablet displayed images of strange metallic structures found deep underground near ancient sites around the world. "These structures are made of materials we still can't fully analyze," Sam explained. "They're connected somehow, forming a network. For decades, we've been studying them, trying to understand their purpose." Alan stared at the images. "Are you saying these are alien?" Not alien to Earth, Sam corrected. They were built here, billions of years ago, by a civilization that predates humanity. We believe they seeded our DNA before they disappeared. Lisa struggled to process this information. And you think these structures are weapons? We think they're part of a defense grid, Sam said. One that extends throughout the solar system. We've found similar structures on Mars and Venus. Outside the window, another Imperial ship descended toward the temporary embassy they had established. 6 more ships had arrived in the past day. How do we activate this grid? Lisa asked. That's what Protocol Omega is trying to figure out. Sam looked grim. Because right now, it's our only hope. The next morning, Dr. Alan Murphy worked in the secure lab beneath the New York facility. The Empire had invited him to visit their medical bay, but he had declined, citing work commitments. The real reason was that he needed time with the samples. His microscope revealed what he had suspected. The medical advances the Empire offered contained nanomachines that would allow them to monitor and potentially control human bodies. Alan's phone buzzed. It was Lisa. Meet me at the docks in 30 minutes, she said without greeting. Bring your research. At the Hudson River docks, Lisa waited in a nondescript car. When Alan slid in beside her, she immediately drove away. What's happening? He asked. More Imperial ships entered the system this morning, Lisa said. They're positioning themselves around major cities. Sam thinks they're preparing for something. They arrived at a warehouse where Sam waited with several military officers and scientists. We're activating Protocol Omega, Sam announced. The president has given authorization. On screens around the room, they could see Imperial ships moving into position around Earth. One of the scientists spoke up. Sir, we've made a breakthrough. The ancient structures respond to specific human DNA sequences. We believe certain people can interface with the system. Sam nodded. That's why Captain Wells is here. Her genetic markers match those we need. Lisa felt everyone's eyes on her. What do I need to do? We need you to activate the first node, Sam explained, pointing to a map showing a location in Antarctica. If it works, it should reveal more of the system and possibly how to bring it all online. As they prepared for the mission, alerts flashed across the screens. Imperial ships were landing in multiple countries without permission. Ambassador Zorthal's voice came through on an emergency broadcast to all nations. People of Earth, the Galactic Empire has determined your world requires immediate guidance. For your own protection and advancement, we are establishing control centers across your planet. Resistance is unnecessary and unwise. Sam looked at Lisa. It's starting. We need to move now. As Lisa boarded the hypersonic jet that would take her to Antarctica, she looked back at the New York skyline. An Imperial ship now hovered above it, casting a shadow across the city. Humanity's first contact with alien life had quickly become a fight for survival. And their only hope lay buried beneath the ice of Antarctica, waiting for the right person to wake it up. The game of colonization had begun, but the Empire didn't know they were playing on someone else's board. The Antarctic wind howled outside as Lisa Wells stepped into the research station. The small team of scientists and military personnel had been working here for years, hidden from the world. What they had found beneath the ice was beyond imagination. Professor. Frank Garner greeted her at the entrance. His beard was white with frost, his eyes tired but excited. Captain Wells, we've been expecting you, he said, shaking her hand firmly. Sam told us you're the one with the genetic marker. Lisa nodded, still processing what this meant. I'm still not sure I understand all this. Ancient civilizations and defense systems. Frank led her through narrow corridors lined with equipment. Humanity has been sitting on this technology for centuries. We just didn't know what we were looking at. They entered a large chamber carved into the ice. In the center stood a metal structure shaped like a pyramid, covered in symbols that seemed to shift and move when looked at directly. This is just one node, Frank explained. There are others around the world. Stonehenge, the pyramids in Egypt, structures under the ocean near Japan, all markers for a dormant planetary defense network. Lieutenant Kate Simmons approached them, her military uniform contrasting with the scientists' thick winter gear. "The Imperial ships are spreading out across the globe," she reported. "They've established bases in 17 countries already." Lisa looked at the pyramid structure. "How do we activate this?" "That's where you come in," Frank said. He guided her to a panel on the side of the pyramid. "Place your hand here." Lisa hesitated, then pressed her palm against the cold metal. Nothing happened. "It's not working," she said. "Try focusing your thoughts," Frank suggested. "The system is partly biological in nature. It responds to brain waves from those with the right genetic sequence." Lisa closed her eyes. She thought about Earth, about the threat hovering above their cities. She thought about the need to protect humanity. The pyramid began to hum. The symbols glowed blue. Then the entire structure lit up from within. The ground beneath them trembled. "It's working!" Frank exclaimed. "The node is activating!" Around the world, similar structures began to stir. In Egypt, tourists watched in awe as ancient pyramids glowed with blue light. Off the coast of Japan, fishermen witnessed massive structures rising from the ocean depths. At Stonehenge, the standing stones hummed with energy that could be felt for miles. Back in New York, General Peter Hoffman stared at the satellite feeds showing these events. As head of Space Defense Command, he had been prepared for alien threats, but not like this. "What exactly are we activating?" he asked Sam Daniels. "The precursors built a defense system throughout our solar system," Sam explained. "Earth is just one part of it." Eric Collins, a young engineer working on the project, pointed to new readings coming in. "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures on Mars and Venus now. Whatever Captain Wells activated, it's spreading throughout the solar system." Above them, Imperial ships moved into attack positions. The friendly facade was dropping quickly. Ambassador Zorthal's voice came through on all communication channels. "People of Earth, we have detected unauthorized activation of prohibited technology. This violation requires immediate intervention. Submit to Imperial authority now." General Hoffman turned to Sam. "How long until the defense system is fully operational?" "Unknown," Sam admitted. "We're in uncharted territory." In orbit, Imperial warships began targeting Earth's satellite network. Within minutes, communication systems across the planet began failing. At the Antarctic station, Lisa felt something changing inside her. Since activating the node, she could sense the network spreading, could almost see it in her mind. "There are structures on Mars," she said suddenly. "Massive ones buried under the surface, and more on Venus and Jupiter's moons." Frank looked at her in shock. "How do you know that?" "I can see them," Lisa said. "It's like the system is showing me." "Lieutenant, Simmons received an emergency transmission. Imperial forces are landing troops in major cities. They're targeting government buildings and military installations." Frank turned to Lisa. "We need to fully activate the system. Can you see how?" Lisa closed her eyes again, letting the strange new awareness flow through her. "It's incomplete. We need more people with the genetic markers. One person can't control the entire grid." "Eric Collins," Kate said suddenly, "our engineer in New York. His DNA test showed similar markers to yours." "And there must be others," Frank added. "The markers would have spread through the population, over generations." A violent explosion rocked the research station. Ice and snow cascaded from the ceiling. "They've found us," Kate said, checking her tablet. "Imperial ships are approaching." Lisa looked at the activated node. "We need to get to New York, find Eric and others like us. It's the only way to bring the full system online." Kate led them to a hidden hangar where a hypersonic jet waited. "This was our emergency exit strategy. It can get us to New York in 2 hours." As they prepared to leave, Lisa placed her hand on the pyramid one last time. The connection strengthened, showing her glimpses of what the complete system could do. It was far more powerful than anyone had imagined. The jet shot through the Antarctic sky, barely avoiding Imperial fighters. Around the world, chaos spread as alien troops established control zones in major cities. In New York, Eric Collins worked frantically in the underground lab. He had felt something strange when the first node activated, a pulling sensation in His mind. Now he understood why. I've identified 27 individuals with the genetic markers we need, he told General Hoffman. They're scattered across the globe. Can we reach them? Hoffman asked. Some, yes. Others are in areas already under Imperial control. Sam Daniels studied the ancient texts they had recovered over the years. According to these records, the precursors faced a similar threat. They built this system to protect not just Earth, but the entire solar system. From the Empire? Hoffman asked. Maybe, Sam said, or something worse. Outside, Imperial ships enforced a no-fly zone over the city. Ambassador Zorthal had declared himself emergency governor of the North American region. Similar declarations were happening across the globe. Eric suddenly clutched his head, gasping. Something's happening. I can feel it. The system is trying to connect. On screens around them, they saw Imperial ships detecting something near Mars. A massive structure was emerging from beneath the red planet's surface. A weapon platform larger than anything humans had ever built. It's starting, Sam said quietly. The solar system is waking up. As Lisa's jet approached New York, she saw Imperial ships forming a blockade. Getting through would be impossible by conventional means, but Lisa wasn't limited to conventional means anymore. She placed her hand on the jet's control panel, letting her mind connect with the ancient network. For a brief moment, the Imperial ship's systems failed. A gap opened in their blockade. Now, Lisa shouted to the pilot. The jet shot through the opening, racing toward the city below. The Empire had come expecting an easy conquest. They had found civilizations like Earth hundreds of times before. Always the same story. Impressive potential, minimal defenses, easy to subjugate. But Earth had a secret. One buried for millions of years, waiting for the right moment, the right people. And now that secret was waking up. The jet landed on a hidden airstrip beneath an old warehouse in Brooklyn. Lisa, Frank, and Kate hurried through a tunnel that connected to the main underground facility. They found New York in chaos above them. Imperial troops patrolled the streets, while ships hovered over major buildings. Eric Collins waited for them in the control room, his face pale and tired. When Lisa entered, he looked up with instant recognition, though they had never met. I felt you activate the node, he said simply. It was like a door opening in my mind. Lisa nodded. Same when you connected. How many others have we found? 27 people with strong genetic markers, General Hoffman said, joining them. We've managed to bring 7 of them here. The others are either hiding or already captured by Imperial forces. Dr. Susan Morgan approached Lisa with a medical scanner. The geneticist had been working non-stop since the invasion began. Your DNA is changing, she said, showing Lisa the results. The connection to the defense system is altering your genetic structure. Is it dangerous? Lisa asked. Unknown, Susan admitted. But the same changes are happening to Eric and the others with the markers. Sam Daniels pointed to a map showing Imperial positions across the globe. They've established control in most major cities. Some countries surrendered without a fight. Others are still resisting. What about the defense system? Frank asked. Lisa activated the node in Antarctica. What's happening with the others? Eric brought up images on the main screen. They're all active now, but at minimal power. Something is still missing. He looked at Lisa. We need someone with an even stronger connection. Susan checked her tablet. There's one person whose genetic markers are off the charts. A former Special Forces soldier named Jason Black. If anyone can fully activate the system, it's him. Where is he? Lisa asked. Last seen in Chicago, General Hoffman said. Now under by Imperial control. Commander John Rivera entered the room. As captain of Earth's orbital defense platform, he had watched helplessly as Imperial ships surrounded his station. We've captured an Imperial scout ship, he reported. The pilot didn't survive, but the ship is intact. Lisa turned to Eric. Can we use it to get to Chicago? Maybe, Eric said, if we can figure out how to fly it. As they spoke, the ground shook from explosions above. Governor Krelvox, the Imperial military commander, had ordered strikes against suspected resistance bases. "We don't have much time," General Hoffman said. "The Empire is tightening its grip every hour." Lisa and Eric studied the captured Imperial ship. With their new connection to the ancient technology, they found they could interpret the alien controls more easily than expected. "The Empire has been here before," Eric said suddenly, pointing to symbols on the ship's database. "Centuries ago." Lisa searched through the records. "You're right. They came to Earth around 1200 BCE, and something drove them away." The defense system, Eric realized. It was active once before. Meanwhile, Susan Morgan worked with the 7 people who shared the special genetic markers. Each one could connect to different parts of the system. "The defense grid extends throughout the entire solar system," she told Sam. "These structures we're finding on Earth are just control nodes. The real weapons are in space." Sam studied the ancient texts. "According to these records, there are massive structures on Mars, Venus, and several moons of Jupiter and Saturn." Susan nodded. "And they're starting to wake up." In Chicago, Jason Black hid in the basement of an abandoned building. Since the invasion began, he had been experiencing strange visions and headaches. Something was calling to him, showing him things he couldn't understand. He saw giant machines buried beneath the surface of Mars. He saw weapon platforms hidden in the rings of Saturn. He saw a network of energy that connected everything in the solar system. An Imperial patrol passed by outside. Jason stayed perfectly still until they moved on. He knew he needed to get out of the city, but Imperial checkpoints were everywhere. His phone vibrated. A text message from an unknown number. "We know what you're experiencing. We need your help. Coordinates follow." Back in New York, Lisa and Eric prepared the captured Imperial ship for launch. "If we can get Jason back here," Eric said, "Susan believes we can fully activate the defense grid." Lisa nodded. "I can feel it waiting, like a sleeping giant." Commander Rivera entered with urgent news. "Imperial ships are pulling back from Earth orbit." "Why?" General Hoffman asked. Rivera pointed to a live feed from one of their few remaining satellites. "Something is happening on Mars." The image showed the red planet's surface shifting, massive sections of ground moving aside to reveal structures beneath. Something enormous was emerging. "It's part of the defense system," Lisa said. "The node activations triggered it." In his command ship above New York, Governor Krelvox received alarming reports from the Imperial fleet near Mars. His communication officer looked terrified. "Governor, High Admiral Vex Kor requests immediate reinforcements. Something is attacking our ships." Krelvox watched in disbelief as the report showed Imperial vessels being disabled by energy pulses from the Martian surface. "Impossible," he said. "This planet has no such technology." His science officer spoke cautiously. "Governor, these energy signatures match ancient records of the progenitor defense system." "The progenitors?" Krelvox felt cold fear for the first time. "They disappeared millions of years ago." "Yes, but their technology apparently remains. And the humans seem to have activated it." Krelvox immediately ordered increased efforts to crush Earth's resistance. "Find anyone with unusual genetic patterns. Capture them alive." Lisa and Eric launched the Imperial scout ship, cloaking it to avoid detection. They flew low over the devastated landscape toward Chicago. Imperial forces had established harsh control over the population, with camps for those who resisted. "I'm getting a clearer signal from Jason," Eric said. "He's moving toward the rendezvous point." Lisa piloted the ship carefully. "The defense system is becoming more active. I can feel structures waking up across the solar system." "Why didn't it activate before the Empire arrived?" Eric wondered. "It needed a threat," Lisa realized. "It was designed to recognize Imperial technology and respond." They landed in a clearing outside Chicago. Night fell as they waited for Jason to appear. "Tell me what you know about the progenitors," Lisa asked Eric. "From what we've pieced together, they seeded human DNA millions of years ago," Eric explained. "They built this defense system to protect Earth and then disappeared. Some texts suggest they were fighting a war against the Empire, or something the Empire served. A noise in the bushes alerted them. A man emerged, tall and strong with intense eyes. He looked at Lisa and Eric with immediate recognition. "You're like me," Jason Black said. "You can see it too." Lisa nodded. "We need your help to fully activate the defense grid." "I know," Jason said. "It's been showing me, the whole system. It's far more powerful than you realize." As they prepared to return to New York, Imperial ships appeared overhead, searchlights scanning the area. "They found us," Eric said. Jason looked up at the ships, his eyes suddenly glowing with blue light. He raised his hand, and a pulse of energy shot from his palm, disabling the nearest Imperial ship. It crashed into the forest. Lisa and Eric stared at him. "How did you do that?" Lisa asked. "I don't know," Jason said, looking at his hand in shock. "It just happened." They hurried aboard their stolen ship as more Imperial vessels approached. As they took off, Jason placed his hand on the ship's control panel. The alien technology responded instantly, moving faster than Lisa could have piloted it. "The connection is stronger in him," Eric said quietly to Lisa. "Much stronger." As they fled toward New York, more reports came in from across the solar system. On Venus, massive structures were emerging from beneath the clouds. Around Jupiter, long-dormant satellites were powering up. The ancient defense grid was awakening piece by piece, and the Empire was beginning to realize they had made a terrible mistake. The stolen Imperial ship landed at the secret base beneath New York. Jason Black stepped out, his eyes still glowing faintly blue. Everyone in the room could feel the power radiating from him. This was someone who could fully connect with the ancient system. Dr. Susan Morgan immediately began scanning him. "Your genetic structure is changing faster than the others," she told Jason. "The defense system is rewriting your DNA." "Is it dangerous?" Lisa asked. "For him or for the Empire?" Susan replied with a grim smile. General Hoffman updated them on the situation. "We've lost contact with our forces in Europe and most of Asia. The Empire has established complete control over 60% of Earth's surface." "What about the defense system?" Eric asked. Chief Engineer Darren Ward, who had been working non-stop on understanding the ancient technology, brought up a solar system map on the main screen. Glowing points showed active nodes across multiple planets and moons. "It's coming online piece by piece," Darren explained. "But it's not coordinated yet. We need to connect everything together." Jason looked at the map. "I can do it. I can see how all the pieces fit." Susan warned. "The procedure could kill you. Your brain isn't designed to handle that much information." "Did we have a choice?" Jason asked simply. Above them, Imperial ships intensified their bombardment of resistant strongholds. Major cities around the world suffered heavy damage as Governor Krelvox implemented harsher measures to crush human resistance. In a secure bunker beneath what was once the White House, President Laura Bennett gathered with the remaining government officials. The United Earth Coalition had formed from the countries still fighting the Empire. "We've received word from the New York team," her aide reported. "They believe they can activate the full defense system." "At what cost?" "President?" Bennett asked. "Unknown, Madam President, but if we don't try, the Empire will strip our planet bare." President Bennett made her decision. Authorize Protocol Omega's final phase. Back in New York, Susan and Darren prepared Jason for the connection procedure. They had converted an ancient node into an interface chamber. Jason would lie inside while the system linked directly to his mind. "Once we start, we can't stop until it's complete," Susan warned. Jason nodded. "I understand the risk." Lisa squeezed his hand. "The defense grid showed itself to you for a reason. You can do this." As Jason entered the chamber, Imperial forces, led by Governor Krelvox himself, launched a major assault on New York. They had traced the activation signals to this location. "We need to buy Jason time," General Hoffman said. "Every minute counts." Colonel Richard Hayes, commander of Earth's remaining ground forces, organized the defense. "We'll hold them as long as we can." Inside the chamber, Jason lay back as the ancient technology wrapped around him. His mind expanded, connecting to nodes across Earth, then reaching outward to Mars, Venus, Jupiter's moons, and beyond. He saw the full scope of the progenitor defense system for the first time. It wasn't just weapons. It was a shield for the entire solar system, designed to protect all life within it. Outside, the battle for New York intensified. Imperial troops pushed through the city's defenses, moving closer to the underground facility. Colonel Hayes and his soldiers fought bravely, but they were outmatched by superior Imperial technology. In space, High Admiral Vex Kor commanded the Imperial fleet. He watched with growing concern as more ancient structures activated across the solar system. Target those structures immediately, he ordered. Destroy them before they fully power up. Imperial battleships fired on the emerging structures on Mars, but their weapons had no effect. The ancient technology was protected by shields far beyond Imperial capabilities. In the chamber beneath New York, Jason's body arched as energy coursed through him. His mind touched every part of the defense grid, bringing it to life. Susan monitored his vital signs with growing concern. His brain activity is off the charts, she told Darren. I don't know how much more he can take. Above ground, Imperial forces broke through the final defenses. Governor Krelvox led his elite guards toward the entrance of the underground facility. Find the human controlling the system, he ordered. Kill everyone else. Colonel Hayes and his last squad made a final stand at the entrance. They won't get through while we're still breathing, he promised General Hoffman over the radio. Deep beneath the ocean floors, massive structures began to rise. Ancient machines, dormant for millions of years, activated and moved toward the surface. In the Arctic and Antarctic, the ice split as more components of the defense grid emerged. Most shocking of all was the moon. Its surface began to shift, revealing that large portions were artificial. Hidden mechanisms built into the satellite by the progenitors started to power up. In his chamber, Jason saw it all. His consciousness spread throughout the solar system, connecting with every piece of the ancient technology. He could feel the Empire's ships could sense their weapons and their fear. It's working, Lisa said, watching the displays. The whole system is coming online. Darren pointed to energy readings from across the solar system. Power levels are rising everywhere. Whatever this system is, it's massive. Susan still watched Jason with concern. His vital signs are failing. We need to disconnect him. Not yet, Jason said, his voice sounding strange and distant. I'm almost there. Above New York, Imperial ships suddenly lost power. They drifted, their engines and weapons disabled by an invisible force. The same happened around the world, then. Across the solar system, Governor Krelvox received desperate reports from his fleet. High Admiral, what's happening? Some kind of energy field is disabling our ships, Vex Kor replied, his voice filled with fear. It's spreading throughout the system. On Earth's surface, massive structures continued to rise from oceans, deserts, and ice caps. Each one connected to the network Jason now controlled. The ground shook as ancient machines, larger than skyscrapers, emerged and pointed toward the sky. In the underground facility, the walls trembled. Colonel Hayes reported that the Imperial forces had suddenly retreated, their weapons no longer functioning. They're running scared, he said, not hiding his satisfaction. Inside his chamber, Jason's body glowed with blue energy. His mind had expanded beyond human limitations, seeing and understanding things no person ever had. The shield is forming, he said, his voice echoing strangely. Mercury is the key. On displays around the room, they watched as Mercury's surface transformed. The planet closest to the sun had been converted into a massive energy collector by the progenitors, designed to power the entire defense grid. The system is fully activating, Darren said in awe. It's creating some kind of barrier around the entire solar system. In space, Imperial ships found themselves trapped as an energy field expanded outward from Earth. Those that tried to flee were stopped by the barrier now forming at the edge of the solar system. High Admiral Vex Kor made an emergency transmission to the Imperial homeworld. We require immediate assistance. We have encountered active progenitor technology. Repeat. Active progenitor technology. The Emperor himself received this message with shock. The progenitors were supposed to be gone, their technology lost, yet somehow humans had awakened it. As the defense grid reached full power, Jason opened his eyes in the chamber. They glowed with the same blue energy that now surrounded Earth. "It's done," he said simply. The solar system defense grid was online, and the Galactic Empire was trapped inside it. 3 days passed since the full activation of the defense grid. The Empire's ships remained disabled, floating helplessly in space. On Earth, Imperial ground forces retreated to their main bases as their weapons and communication systems failed. Jason. Black sat in a quiet room beneath New York. His eyes still glowed blue, his mind connected to the vast network that now protected the solar system. Susan Morgan continued to monitor his condition. "Your transformation is stabilizing," she told him. "The system has changed you, but you're still human." Jason nodded slowly. "I can see everything. Every ship, every planet, every part of the grid. It's overwhelming." In what remained of the Pentagon, Admiral Jack Nelson met with President Bennett and the military leadership. As commander of Earth's newly formed space fleet, he was responsible for their next moves. "The Imperial ships are disabled but not destroyed," Nelson explained. "We can take them if we act quickly." President Bennett studied the reports. "Do we have the capability?" "The defense grid has provided us with more than just protection," Nelson said. "There are vessels hidden throughout the solar system, ancient ships left by the progenitors." On the screens, images appeared of massive ships rising from beneath the clouds of Jupiter and Saturn, from beneath the Martian surface, and from hidden bases on Earth's moon. "And we can control these ships?" the president asked. "Those with the genetic markers can," Nelson confirmed. "Lisa Wells is already aboard one." High above Earth, Lisa sat in the command chair of a progenitor vessel. The ship responded to her thoughts, moving with incredible speed and precision. Eric Collins and several others with the genetic markers had taken command of similar ships. In his crippled flagship, High Admiral Vex Kor received a transmission. A human female appeared on his view screen. "This is Captain Lisa Wells of the Yao Earth Defense Fleet. Your ships are disabled, your ground forces are cut off, surrender or be destroyed." Vex Kor laughed bitterly. "You don't even understand what you've done, human. The technology you've awakened will bring the wrath of the entire Empire upon you." "We're counting on it," Lisa replied calmly. On Jupiter's largest moon, massive weapon platforms activated, pointing toward the disabled Imperial fleet. Similar platforms emerged from Saturn's rings and from hidden bases on Mars. Michelle Parker coordinated the global recovery efforts from New York. As civilian liaison, she worked to restore order in cities damaged by Imperial attacks. She watched the news reports with a mixture of hope and worry. "The Empire is retreating from major cities," she told Sam Daniels. "People are reclaiming their homes." Sam nodded. "But this is just the beginning. The real fight is up there." He pointed skyward. In orbit around Neptune, a massive Imperial vessel appeared. Unlike the others, this ship was enormous, nearly the size of Earth's moon. It was the personal vessel of Emperor Zorthax himself. "The Emperor has arrived," Jason announced suddenly, his eyes flaring brighter. "He wants to see what we've done." Admiral Nelson ordered Earth's new fleet to defensive positions. The progenitor ships formed a protective screen around Earth, while the weapon platforms throughout the solar system locked onto the Emperor's vessel. Emperor Zorthax sent a transmission to Earth, appearing on screens worldwide. His form was similar to Ambassador Zorthal, but larger with elaborate clothing and cybernetic enhancements visible on his face. "People of Earth," he began, his voice deep and resonant. "You have awakened technology that does not belong to you. Technology that nearly destroyed the Empire eons ago. Surrender control of the progenitor system immediately." President Bennett responded, her voice firm despite her fear. "Your forces invaded our world without provocation. We activated our defenses as is our right. The Empire will leave our solar system immediately. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Your solar system? The Empire has ruled this galaxy for 12,000 years. Your species has barely left its own planet. And yet, here we are, the President replied simply. In his room, Jason stood up suddenly. I need to speak with him. Susan looked concerned. Are you sure that's wise? It's why the system chose me, Jason said, to communicate. Using the defense grid's communication network, Jason sent his consciousness directly to the Emperor's ship. He appeared as a glowing blue figure in the Emperor's private chamber. What is this? Zorthax demanded, startled by the sudden appearance. I am the human interface with the progenitor defense system, Jason explained. I have access to your ship's records. I know the truth about the Empire now. You know nothing, the Emperor hissed. I know the progenitors created your species as well as humans, Jason said calmly. I know they built this defense system to protect life in this solar system from what they called the Harbingers. I know the Empire once served the progenitors, but betrayed them. Around the solar system, more of the defense grid activated. The rings of Saturn glowed with energy. Pluto's surface shifted, revealing it was entirely artificial, a massive sensor array designed to detect threats from deep space. The Empire has spent thousands of years hunting down and destroying progenitor technology, Jason continued. You fear it because you can't control it, because it was meant to stop both you and what you serve. The Emperor's face showed real fear now. You don't understand what you're dealing with, human. The Harbingers are coming. They always do when progenitor technology activates. Turn it off while you still can. No, Jason said simply. We've seen what the Empire does to worlds. We'll take our chances with the Harbingers. Across the solar system, the defense grid reached full power. A shimmering energy shield formed, enclosing the entire system from beyond Pluto's orbit to just outside Mercury's path around the Sun. The shield allowed light to pass through but would stop any ship attempting to cross it. This is your final warning, President Bennett transmitted to the Emperor. Leave our system or face destruction. Admiral Nelson positioned Earth's new fleet near Mars, ready to attack if necessary. The ancient progenitor ships were more powerful than anything the Empire had, with weapons that could destroy planets. For the first time in thousands of years, Emperor Zorthax faced a force he could not conquer. His ships were disabled, his troops cut off, and his flagship now targeted by dozens of weapon platforms. This isn't over, he promised darkly before cutting the transmission. The Imperial fleet regained minimal power, enough to limp toward the edge of the solar system. The defense grid opened a small gap in the shield, allowing them to leave. One by one, the Imperial ships fled, with the Emperor's massive vessel the last to go. As they disappeared into deep space, cheers erupted across Earth. For the first time, in weeks, the skies above their planet were clear of threat. Admiral Nelson stood on the bridge of his progenitor vessel, watching the Imperial ships retreat. We should go after them, one of his officers suggested. Finish them while they're weak. No, Nelson said. Defending our home was the goal. We achieved it. But he knew this was just the beginning. Earth had emerged as a new power in the galaxy, with technology beyond even the Empire's capabilities. The shield around their solar system would protect them for now, but eventually, they would need to venture beyond it. And somewhere out there, both the wounded Empire and the mysterious Harbingers waited. Jason Black gazed out at the stars from his window. Through his connection to the defense grid, he could feel something vast and ancient stirring in the darkness between galaxies. Something that had hunted the progenitors to extinction. Something that would now turn its attention to Earth. The solar system was safe for now, but the real war was just beginning.